Hey viewers and viewers, my name is General Red Strategist and welcome back to So You're Being Hunted. This is episode 407. So, last episode I kind of fluffed up my freaking Grenadier challenge, didn't I? I don't even think it was a robot that killed me. I'm sure it wasn't. I'm sure it was myself, blowing myself up with dynamite and all that. Just when you think General Red can't fuck up his gameplay anymore, he always finds a way and all that. But, I'll have to retry that Grenadier challenge at some point, because of course people actually were leaving suggestions and things like that, in case I decided to do it again in the future. For example, just changing up certain biome generation settings, things like that, to try and max out dynamite and whatever else have you. And always remembering that actually the best castle towers are on specific castle infrastructure islands, rather than what I was doing, which was a lot of industrial infrastructure. But that's enough about that. I'm not spending a whole episode talking about the Grenadier challenge and all that. That's not why I'm here. So we're just taking another little, little break and all that to have ourselves a nice little podcast-style episode. And oh boy, has it been a warm day over here in the UK. In fact, it's been quite warm the last few days. In fact, it's been very, very warm, incidentally. In fact, it's quite hot. It's been getting towards like 29, 30 degrees at times, which, granted, I'm sure there's people out there in countries where it's hotter. But the problem I always find with summer in the UK, I mean, Lord knows, I'm not saying I dislike summer at all. Summer is lovely. But the only thing about the UK is we get that sort of very humid summer where it's very kind of, how should I say, it's not kind of like a pleasant dry heat. It's that kind of very hot, sticky kind of heat that is just a bit uncomfortable. That's what we've been having at the moment. It's just one of those things that sometimes, when you're lying in bed at night, it makes it really hard to get to sleep. It's like you're constantly tossing and turning because you feel too hot. You're like throwing the covers back. You're just thinking, oh god, get me out of here, let me go to sleep, please. But of course sleep eludes you because you're too hot and too sticky to actually drift off into a slumber for a while. But, that's not the main topic of conversation actually I want to talk about. That's just how things are at the moment. Probably what I'm going to do is tomorrow morning, day after I record this, probably going to maybe, I don't know, head out to the shops and see if I can get my hands on a fan I can just put in my lounge. Maybe just like either like a desk fan that I can just put on my coffee table. Just have that on, blowing around the room. Or maybe like one of those pedestal fans that you can set up, like a big one. I mean, actually, I probably want something fairly compact, now that I think about it, that can be easily stowed away when it's not in use. But god, I just wanted to get my hands on a fan. It's that kind of heat, but the thing is, it's that kind of British summer heat which probably won't last for very long. At some point, the pressure is going to change, and there'll probably be thunderstorms, and the air will rapidly cool down and all that. And then that'll be it for the summer, and whatever else have you. So that'll be fantastic, won't it? But, yeah, so that's what it's like on my end, and I'm sure it's probably the same for all you guys out there watching, in whatever country you're in right now. But, actually, there was something else really I wanted to talk about as well in this episode. So, I was actually browsing on YouTube recently, and I noticed a video that was released by one James Willems, who, I'm assuming I'm pronouncing his name right, I believe was a member of Funhouse, wasn't he? Funhouse, which was affiliated with Rooster Teeth, Achievement Hunter, and all them. I'm pretty sure they were affiliated with them at least. You know who we're talking about. We're talking about Funhouse with James Willems and Bruce Green. Though technically Bruce, I think, left at one point, didn't he? Well, I say left at one point. He left at some point and hasn't been part of it for a while. But so this video that I saw was basically for Psychonauts 2, which apparently is coming out in August. Now, Psychonauts, of course, is a very notable platforming game, which I think was originally released in 2005. I have a confession to make. I've never played Psychonauts before, which you'd be surprised by, probably, knowing that I do like my 3D platformers, Rayman 2, Rayman 3, etc, etc. But yeah, I've never played that game before. But after I saw that apparently there's going to be a Psychonauts 2 coming out in August, I went away, had a look on Steam, and discovered, yeah, you can buy the original Psychonauts here on Steam. So I did. It's in my Steam library now. So I'm kind of curious to actually play that at some point, and who knows, maybe I'll do it on the channel. I mean, you know, I always sort of say if people would be interested, but truth be told, that's never really stopped me, or rather lack of apparent viewer interest has never really stopped me from ever playing a game before on the channel. But Psychonauts, you know, although I never played it, I sort of do know a bit about the basic premise of it. It was something, I think you play as a kid, don't you, called Raz. It's very sort of cartoony, but it has a very distinct look to it, Psychonauts. And you play as this kid Raz, who I think is at a summer training camp for kids with psychic abilities. It's something like that. And essentially it's all about using your psychic powers to enter people's minds or something, and just progress through these very weird and wacky environments. At least that's all I kind of... well, that's my limited understanding of what that game is about. But it's a game that a lot of people, certainly on Steam, seem to remember very fondly. It's one of those games that I hear various people talking about, and when they talk about it, they usually say things like, oh, it's one of those games you've got to play. If you're into your platformers, you've got to play Psychonauts at some time in your life. But of course, that game came out in 2005, and I'm late to the party, I guess. But better late than never, I suppose. And who knows, if I find myself enjoying the original Psychonauts, maybe then Psychonauts 2 would be up my alley. Who knows? So yeah, a little bit of gaming news there, ladies and gentlemen. A little bit about that, which I suppose will be fantastic. Having said that, you know, I don't know if I was to do Psychonauts on the channel, would I do it sometime soon, or would it be something perhaps for the longer term? I don't know. I'll have to have a think about that, because the problem with me is I got so many games, you know, in my Steam library, on GOG, or even on EA Origin, that I want to play. The problem is, I have so many already in my Steam library, but by the time I complete one of my current series, I end up finding another 10 games on Steam that I want to buy, so I end up buying a few of them, and then suddenly the list gets even bigger and bigger. But such is the problem with Steam and all that. You know, there's so many great games out there that you just want to take a look at, but you just feel like you don't have the time. But you buy them nevertheless, don't you? On the off chance that at some point rather, you may well play them. And that's what you do. Right. I'm just sort of wandering around this island, not really doing anything, but that's because I'm concentrating on what I'm saying, ladies and gentlemen. I'd be curious to know, though, any people out there who have played Psychonauts, what was your opinion on it? Is it something that's definitely quite good? That's worth playing? Worth experiencing? If so, let me know in the comments. Or indeed the opposite. By all means, if you didn't enjoy it, let me know about that as well. Because sometimes it's good to temper one's expectations. Because that's one of the big things, actually, about, you know, especially gaming in more recent years. So many games that often get subject to the hype train and all that. Yes, we're segueing now into a completely different subject entirely. The hype train is always something you've got to watch out for with gaming, ladies and gentlemen. Basically, I'll be honest, with me, whenever I'm on Steam, whenever I'm on GOG, whatever I'm on, whenever I'm on YouTube looking at trailers for new and upcoming games, I always try not to get drawn into hype trains, because inevitably they always set up your expectations to such a high point that realistically the game can never actually meet them, in essence. Because that was the thing with games like No Man's Sky, you know, in the run-up to when they were released. Massive fucking hype train in operation. And of course they got released and they were nowhere near as good as people thought they were. And so inevitably everyone was disappointed. Not to, you know, take away from the fact though that Hello Games have steadily worked on that game over time to make it better and better, and to implement some of the stuff which was originally promised. But you know, Psychonauts, to get kind of back to that topic, again, it is one of those games that everybody I've ever heard talking about it has always seemed to talk about it in very glowing terms. But I'm going to try and avoid sort of getting too into that. Because the thing is, you know, if you keep your expectations tempered, it means that game has a better chance of impressing you when you do play it. Even if it isn't actually anything special. Oh god, yeah, guess from my tea. What am I doing? Actually, not even tea, I'm lying. I'm not drunk. I've only actually drunk 2 cups of tea today, and it's late evening as of when I record this. No, the reality is I've actually been drinking water. Just a big glass of water. Because like I say, it's hot weather, ladies and gents. It's all like hot and sticky and it's annoying. It's that kind of weather, but what can you do, eh? You just have to put up with it. But like I say, you know, at some point, probably, when we're all sick of how hot and sticky it is, hopefully, you know, pressure will change, thunderstorms will come, they'll clear the air, we'll get some nice big downpours of rain to just take some of that, you know, take some of that stickiness out of the air. And then maybe it'll be a bit cooler and a bit more tolerable. God, I really am showing off my inner Brit right now, aren't I? We spend so long begging for decent weather, and then when it does turn up, we complain about it. But that's what we're like, okay? Oh God, scratch my ear. There we are. You probably heard me just adjusting my headset then. Alright, what are you two doing down there? You're just buggering around, that's fine. Oh man, I've had quite a big recording session today actually as well. Been recording some good stuff. Recorded about 3 episodes of Brothers in Arms Road to Hill 30. That's a series which, you know, has started off, you know, by now, by the time I record this. First couple of episodes have been out. Well, first 3 episodes, I should say. And the reaction's been good so far, even if my gameplay has been kind of terrible. I have to say, Brothers in Arms Road to Hill 30, though, it's been interesting, in the sense that, obviously it's a World War II FPS, but it's different to other World War II FPSs that I've played. Because the thing is, I'm quite used to obviously playing the Medal of Honor games, since they're the big ones that I've been playing recently, along with RTCW, of course. And the thing about, you know, those games is, you're kind of that sort of lone wolf character. The kind of super soldier character who goes around doing everything on their own. Though admittedly, you know, sometimes you do get allies in those games, but generally you're the one really who kind of directs the tempo of the gunfights and all that. But Brothers in Arms has been different in that it's much more squad-based. It's single-player, don't get me wrong, it's not multiplayer, at least I'm not playing the multiplayer. But, in fact, actually, does Brothers in Arms Road to Hill 30 have multiplayer? I don't think it does, actually. I don't remember. I'd have to check, I'm not sure. But, yeah, essentially it's about kind of squad-based mechanics. So it's not about running and gunning like other FPSs out there. It's more about utilising your allies to best effect and actually being tactical. Which, you know what? Kind of works. And although it takes a little bit of getting used to, especially if you're like me and you're more used to games like Medal of Honor and whatever else have you, like I say, it does take a bit of getting used to. But thing is, as of today, I've recorded something like, yeah, I've recorded episodes 6, 7 and 8, and I think I am sort of getting better at it. It's basically just about kind of making full use of your squad. Because the thing is, as a game, it handles very differently. Weapons are a bit more inaccurate than in other games, and they're a bit more underpowered. It's meant to sort of really prompt you to make full use of your team. And so in that respect, it kind of works. That's not to say your guns are useless or anything, but, you know, just compared to other FPSs, you know, if you come to Brothers in Arms Road to Hill 30 straight out of, say, like Medal of Honor, friggin' Airborne or something, you'll be in for a real surprise. At first you might think, wow, these guns feel real underpowered. But, you know, make use of your iron sights and all that. That's what I'm learning as I play it. And it's good, you know? I wouldn't say I'm enjoying it as much as other FPSs I've played. Medal of Honor Airborne still remains probably one of my favourite World War II FPSs I've played, alongside RTCW, of course, just because of how smooth they are. But, you know, Brothers in Arms Road to Hill 30 is decent so far, and I am enjoying it. So don't let my red ragey moments in that series confuse you. I am enjoying the game, and it is decent. Of course, people have asked me, you know, depending on how that one goes, would I potentially play any of the other Brothers in Arms games? Well, and honest answer to that, maybe, who knows. But like I say, I do have so many other games currently in my Steam library and all that. So, if I do choose to play them, just bear in mind it might not be anytime soon. But I'm sure, you know, if I was stuck for something to play, maybe I would play those. But in the meantime, you know, apart from all the games I've got in my libraries, I've also got fucking recommendations, potentially to play. Little Nightmares, for example, I've mentioned that before. I might be doing that sometime soon, maybe after Brothers in Arms, I'm not sure. We'll have to see, depending on what I choose. And of course there's the mountain of other games that I've had, like I say, in my libraries for absolute years that I need to play. There's douchebags over there. Or who knows, maybe if people wanted to see it, maybe I'd end up playing Psychonauts. To come full circle back to that topic of conversation again. Can't really remember off the top of my head, who's the dev of Psychonauts? Who made it back in the day? I can't even remember. I don't know, ladies and gentlemen. I cannot remember off the top of my head, but that's maybe something for me to check after the recording session. So yeah, as I was saying, I had a big recording session today, and apart from Brothers in Arms, and obviously this episode that I'm recording right now for Sir, another thing that I've been playing today is a indie game that I found on itch.io called The Lightkeeper. It's available for free. It's about an hour in length. It's sort of like a puzzle game. It was the tags for it on itch.io said it was kind of like a horror game, but I don't know. Having played it, it didn't really feel like a horror. I mean, at least I didn't find it scary. I mean, it had a sort of eerie atmosphere to it, but I wouldn't say it was really scary, to be honest. But nonetheless, I do like playing indie games, and that one was kind of enjoyable. Plenty of interesting puzzles, and a bit of action, a bit of FPS action to it. So it wasn't too bad. You'll be seeing that soon. Thing is, I recorded the whole thing in one go, but I'm probably going to split it into 2 episodes, because it was, like I say, about an hour or so. And then just release them as bonus videos, who knows. But that's what you got to look forward to, ladies and gentlemen. Thing is, sites like itch.io and GameJolt are absolute freaking godsends if you're just looking for small indie games that you can do as one-offs, as bonus content. Because there's so friggin' much on there that you can experiment with, and it's great. They have so many things in each genre, whether it's horror, adventure, shooter, action, Did I say adventure? I already said adventure, didn't I? Yeah, whatever you're basically looking for. Usually you'll find tons of stuff that appeals to those particular genres, those particular niches. God, it's fucking sticky as hell. Seriously, I am really hot right now. And it's freaking evening. It should be cooling down at this point. It's still warm as out. And I've got my big glass of water right here beside me on my desk. Got to keep myself hydrated and all that. Whew. I must say though, the thing about me is, I normally am the sort of person who drinks lots of cups of tea in a day. But these last few days I've barely been drinking any, because it's too fucking hot for tea. That's the problem. When you drink things like tea and coffee, of course that stuff, because it's hot, it heats you up. Of course you're already quite hot in this weather, so it's like, why do I want to heat up even more? So as a result, I've just been drinking water mainly, and it's been doing good. Keeps me hydrated. Oof, lovely. Okay. What are you guys doing over there? You're just hanging around that village by the birds. Why is it that the birds always get disturbed when I'm near them, but when they're wandering around near them, they don't even take flight? What a bunch of a-holes. Friggin' birds are in on it. Conspiring with the robots and all that, aren't they? Alright, well, tell you what. I think, because we've been recording for a decent amount of time though, I'll probably wrap up here for this podcast-style episode. I feel like I'm sort of running out of topic. Well, I don't know. It's a good amount of time, hopefully. I think we've been recording for about 15 minutes, maybe just a bit more, around there or thereabouts. I don't know. So, yeah, we'll draw things down here, and I'll save any other topics of conversation I had for either the next episode or a future podcast-style episode or whatever. So, yeah, hope you enjoyed that, ladies and gentlemen. Listening to me witter on about various things. As usual with these podcast-style episodes, I just sort of jumped from one topic to another. But I guess that's the beauty of it. When you're listening to Old Red just talk to himself, chunnering away. Facebook and Twitter links down below, along with the link to my propagandist channel for anyone interested. And if you enjoyed, don't forget to leave a like, comment, subscribe, and all that jazz. See how fast I can do that outro now. Goodbye, everybody. Oh, hello. Are you the humpback whales that we saw earlier in the playthrough? And I look like it. Oh. Whoa! That's a frigging blue whale and a half. Bloody hell, that's big. Now I get a sense of perspective. Zooming out, holy shit. Good God. The music could not be more fitting. Wow. How deep are we going?